Hey everyone. So I arranged this call for mostly guys, but really this could apply to anybody. And we're going to share our stories of four of us who were in the test group. And so I've had the honor and privilege of being in two test groups. I know that Rob wife was in one of the very first coach test groups in back in I think 2014. Hal's wife Lindsay I think has been in two test groups as well. She was in the PIO test group with me and I think the Country Heat. And so this has been a really monumental thing for us, and it's changed the dynamics of our organization. And really, what I love so much about being a coach is the fact that Rob's in Florida, Dave's in Pennsylvania, Hal's in Arizona. We see each other a couple times a year, but we're super good friends. And all of our spouses are friends. And like, that's really what I always emphasize to anybody and everybody can get Shakeology, anybody can get, all the programs, but what, they're missing is the support. And this has been really great from day one. When we started on May 8th together. So little background, I became a coach in 2012, but I started as just a customer 2 weeks before. I really had no idea that I would ever be on a call like this, and I am so honored and privileged to be amongst amazing people. Rob and Dave both have stories of, and Hal. Sorry. Rob has a story of being, a 28-year-old man who lost his father. And then that really is what signified to him that it was time to get healthy, and he lost over 100 pounds. And I know that that's how he met his wife Chelsea, is because she's a coach as well. Dave was a fast food addict, and I remember him telling his story a couple years ago to me, which was so inspiring. And just like me, he's gotten off track here and there, but this test group has brought him back to life, and he has done amazing things. Hal's our pal. Every time we go to events, me and Ryan, my husband, love him, and he's always so supportive. I've seen Lindsay make some great changes. They had twins 4 years ago, and I know it was definitely hard on her body. And he was a former athlete and then just stopped. And he's been taking care of his health as far as, drinking Shakeology, but he didn't really get into the workout. So what I wanted all of you guys to share first was, what was your first reaction when you got the same email I did that you got in the Shift Shop test group? I'm going to let Hal go first, and then Rob, and then Dave, because that's just the way I see you guys.
I was really excited because I've been looking for something that get me back into the exercise regimen, and I actually got mine after Punta Cana, so I was the later one of the guys. So really excited. After I got to work out with Chris a couple times, couldn't believe it, and just super excited with that, and thankful for the opportunity, and just wanted to, I think when you do these things, you feel a little bit more ownership than just when you do a regular test group. So you're committed to all these guys and girls, and we're all friends, but a lot of the people in there are rock stars. So you gotta hold your own with that and hold up your end of the bargain. So that's how I kind of felt about it.
Yeah. Chelsea and I both, and if I use that phrasing a lot, it's because we do everything together, and that's how we like it. But we were both shocked completely. We had no idea that it was coming at all. And obviously the only thing that we had heard about a new program was at the Super Saturday. We got an email one day, and we were both really excited. And I think the thing is as soon as we got the email, we both kind of looked at each other and we said, we got to show up and show up hard. And that's what we stand for. Our team's called Shred Nation, and our slogan is that we do fitness first. And we knew that if we had this opportunity to do it together, it was on us to follow the plan and really prove what this program could do if you do it right.
Yeah, it's funny because I had no expectations for this introduction and this and that email that I got from corporate. I actually was kind of it's funny because I had been talking about it with Jeff Mathewson, if you guys know who he is. He's actually in the test group with us, but he's a member of corporate. And so he was like, I'm a member of the Philly Market Council. And so we meet with him. We try to meet with him once a month. And so I just kind of hinted about it, like, hey, maybe I can be in that test group. And the way I saw it and the way it came in, we had Kim Carver out for our Super Saturday, and it was like a couple weeks before I got the invitation, maybe even a little bit, maybe like a couple days before. And the funny thing was, like, I'm a person who went through a really I lost a bunch of weight. I lost 160 pounds of Beachbody, and then I got a little bit distracted, and it came all the way back to me, and ending up gaining a bunch of weight. And I never really realized it until I saw pictures of the Super Saturday when Kim Carver was there. And so I was like, man, Kim just saw this guy host a Super Saturday who is clearly overweight. And like, as soon as I saw those pictures, all of a sudden this email comes through like, hey, why don't you join the Shift Shop test group? And I'm like, maybe this is a message from corporate that I need to get my ass back in shape. And so that's kind of how I took it. But it's one of those things where I don't know anything about a test group. I've known a couple people who have been in it, but I've never really worked with anybody in a test group. And when you, even just from day one, the thing to me that was most shocking was when you look at the roster of the test group and just the people in it. It's one of those, yeah, you better get it together. You better show up and you better do it right, because not only are all of these people incredible, but you knew when Beachbody put this list of people together that they wanted this program to be incredibly successful. And I was humbled to be a part of that list, but I'm looking at it like, man, there's going to be a lot of eyeballs on this, and I'm not going to be the one that screws up all these results. I'm not going to be the one. And so that was like my initial thought. And just even having that purpose of realizing that all of us are different, but all of us have like this incredible opportunity to be an example for, even if it's just one person in the country. I didn't want to let that go. And that was my initial thought. And that's what I've been rolling with ever since. All of us are so different, but I mean, we're all Beachbody coaches, but we're all so different. And that just lets you know that each individual in this test group is an example for somebody in the country that right now is in a spot where we were when we started, and they're looking at us for hope. So that's kind of where I was, and I've been running with it ever since.
When I got the email, I had already known about the Shift Shop because it was announced in January, and it wasn't my style of workout because I'm going to pick the PiYo, the Country Heat, P90X3. And it's crazy because I started off with P90X, but I've never been one of those, I was never athletic. And so I shied away from that. But Beachbody has given me life. It has given me so much that I can never repay Carl or this opportunity. So any chance I get to show up and be able to represent this amazing company, then I'm going to do it. So I was scared shitless, but I did it. I showed up. And when I went into the PiYo test group back in 2014, I had a goal of what I wanted to do and how I wanted to market this, because I know that they pick us not just to get good results, to be proof that the product works, but because we're the mouthpiece. We're the people that show up all the time. We're the one that pour our heart and soul out on social media, and people know, like, and trust us. And so I've always looked for certain ways. And so when the crowd goes left, I always go right. So I looked at this. I'm like, what am I going to do different? Because everybody's been hosting calls with Chris Downing. So I didn't ask him to be on this call because, dude, bro, I feel so bad for him. Like, he is so tired. He shows up strong all the time. So if you want to hear his story, it's an amazing one. You could Google it because there's been like 50 coaches who had him on here. But I knew that I wanted to take another turn. And so I was like, I'm going to have the guy's perspective, because we know that our industry is really heavily laden with women. And so I was like, I want some dudes. And so, and the biggest thing to me was I was going to look and see who showed up the strongest, because for me, challenge groups and the support of Beachbody are what people don't understand that they're missing when they order it and they're like, we're going to hide, nah, we'll pass in the challenge group. So I wanted the people who showed up strong to talk about this. And so right off the bat, day one, I was like on struggle bus, and then Rob came in, and like, if you guys follow Rob or know him, he's amazing. And his wife, Chelsea, they just are like a dynamic duo that bring out the best in one another. But he got in my head and was like, go. And so like, it sounds weird, but like my first workout was like tough. It was like cardio. I'm like, I hate cardio. And I wanted to give up. But then I was just like, said Rob's name over and over again. I was like, when I say that, it sounds weird and like off, but I was like, he had said all these amazing words to me. And I can't even remember what he said. I just remember like, I wasn't going to let him down because he believed in me. And then all throughout this challenge group, I saw that, David always just coming in and showing up strong. And then Hal was always supportive of our journey. And I loved, like, Ryan would come home and be like, did you see what Hal posts? And so like, this was like, this builds our bond together. And so anyways, that was my vision for this call, was to help guys or help spouses who've been sitting watching their wives rock this business know that they are part of this, and that and to not really share so much necessarily about the ins and outs of the program, because anybody could Google it and it's going to come out and you're going to know what the format is, how long the workouts are. I don't want to spend time with that. I just want to share our mental shifts. So Hal, tell us your results. I saw you literally shrink, and I saw your pictures of you and Lindsay working out, and then it's like this great big smile. And I saw this personality come out that I'd never seen on social media before. So tell us what your results were, and just like what changed about you in this 42 days.
Oh, so my results are 14 pounds and just about 14 inches through the journey. I did the 2 rounds, and we're in the midst of trying to start 3. Kind of fell off for a day or two to relax and do a little bit of Sean week. But yeah, I thought I had some decent results. I mean, like all these guys, what's amazing is all 3 of us started out over 300 pounds on these on the Beachbody programs. I started at 310, so I'm the smallest of the group, which is odd. Like, no one sits there and goes, I'm 310 and the smallest of a group. All right. So I started at 310 about 4 years ago when we had the kids. And, I've slowly shrunk over the years. Hated working out. My wife loves the workout programs, loves her Shakeology. Obviously we've known each other for years and having fun with this, but Lindsay's been a beast in the business and loves the stuff. I mean, like you guys, we've been market counsel for too long on a bunch of different cities when we lived. Like, we love it. We live it. We, all that kind of stuff. But here you go. My wake up call from corporate. Hey, former athletes, you want to lose more weight and do something that you did in high school? Like, hey, it's a football looking program. I'm like, I can do this. Okay. Like, I can't keep up with Sean T. Like, I can't I'm not small like Tony, and I'm not, a backup dancer like Sean. And Autumn I had to sit next to her when we ate dinner one time, and that was enough for me to sit there and go, I'll just push this over here and sit in quietly. Jericho came to our Super Saturday when you were talking about yours, and it's like, I have a picture of me and Autumn, and I look like twice of Autumn, and I'm like, I've dropped 50 pounds at this point. Like, I'm skinny. No, don't stand next to Autumn thinking you're skinny. And I'm like, finally, I took the picture next to Jericho. I'm like, look, I look like a normal dude next to a super trainer. Like, I don't look like I ate 2 of the super trainers. Like, so obviously that was kind of my foray into this. My change and shift in this has been, I made it a goal to actually, like, Lindsay's been unofficial in the test group because she didn't get the invite, and we didn't think to sit there and just say she'll do it too. So like some of the guys, so we did it, and we're like, she just wanted to try the program. And I'm like, we need to do some of this stuff together, because like our brand is us. Like, it may not come through on social media because I push Lindsay, but I'm the one behind the scenes, like doing the face-to-face stuff. I do a lot of like the background for her and the business. So it's like, we need to do this together. And what she's noticed is, what was funny is, if she posts a picture, she gets like 50 likes. And she's like, I got 50 likes. I post a picture, it's like, I'm like, hey, Lindsay, I'm going to hit 400 on this. And it's like 350 something. And she's just like, she just gets so mad at me because it's funny. And then I'm like, if we post it together, it's like even more. So it's just, we made it was a business strategy for us to do it together, but I wanted to work out more with my wife because like it brought us together. And I thought that was awesome and a side benefit to doing this. I didn't expect it to be something we did together all the time, but with me traveling and stuff, we had a great time and she'd check in on me. I hate all of you guys that are coaches solely only because y'all take your photos and do your shit at like 6 a.m. like I want to, but I'm already in my office. So then it's like, oh my God, super speed 50, pour the water over my head. Oh dear God, you're all gonna die. And I'm sitting there for like 8 hours going, now I have to go home at like 6 o'clock tonight after working 12 hours and I get to do what you all made me dread for the last, I don't know, 8 hours. So, it's the fun of it. And Lindsay loves taunting me. So it was fun the whole time for her too, doing the same thing. Like, oh my God, I just did 30, I didn't do a workout, like full workouts since high school. So 20 years later, they're like, can you do full workouts? And I'm just in there going, 25 minutes, I'm going to die. And I'm doing them in hotel rooms. Like, I got to make everybody proud. Hotel room workouts. Like, but hey, it worked. And the shift was, I actually can do a workout. I can do a program, which I never thought I could commit to 3 weeks of clean eating and workouts. And then when you get taunted with free tacos, Dave, on the first Saturday, Sunday. Yeah. I wasn't cool, dude, because we all jumped on that bus. So, yeah, my shift was like the mental of fun of doing a workout, following a program, bonding with my wife, and really, like Dave said, we are all, you look at the list of that test group, that was the test group for how you should run all of your groups. But the fact is we are all mouthpieces and none of us want to shut up for a second. Like, I think we talked before this. If you let each of us talk, I'll talk for an hour, Dave will talk for an hour, and Rob will talk for an hour. It'll be fine.
I love what you said about the pictures that you post, because, my husband is the background too, as well. He doesn't really like the limelight, but so he'll always be like, oh, I have something to post or whatever. I'm like, told him, like, now why don't you post it? When he posts it, like, he gets like crazy likes, like I used to get. And I'm like, but people like to see the spouses. And so this was kind of why I wanted to share this on the call, because I knew that Hal was behind the scenes guy, and that now this changed. And like, I see a different side of you, Hal, just because we always talk at every event, but like, you have a more confident, like, I don't know, I see a change and I just love it. And, these are the things that, if we can encourage our spouses to just show up for themselves for something like this, they don't have to run the business. They don't have to go out and, sell Shakeology samples or speak at Super Saturdays, but, get them involved, because corporate does care about our whole family. So anyways, Rob, you next.
Okay. So, it's just so hard to follow because it hits on so many things, but I think you look at any person who went through this program and everyone got results. I know I said that kind of at the beginning of the call. My mental shift was two things, and I can tell you one thing right away because I've already started having conversations with people about this. And this is for right now when this program comes out and for the rest of my life and the rest of everyone's life. My biggest struggle, okay, I was overweight my entire life. And then when I lost all of that weight, it was because I was working out a lot. I was exercising a lot. It was the only thing that mattered to me. And I remember when Chelsea and I started this, we decided that for the 3-week program, we were not going to do extra workouts. We were not going to stray for the food plan, because for me, I am super organized when it comes to that stuff. And the old me prior to Shift Shop would say, okay, I'm going to throw in an extra half hour of cardio. Or I'm going to throw in an extra hour of cardio because I think that I need it. I'm going to eat less food because I think if I eat less food, I'm going to lose more weight and get better results. Those are the lies that I would tell myself So when we started this, we agreed week 1, we were doing the 25-minute workouts and the core days when it was supposed to be core days, we were going to follow the nutrition precisely. And then week 2, it was going to be the 35-minute workouts and the core days and the nutrition plan precisely. And it was going to be week 3, we were going to do the 45-minute workouts and follow the meal plan precisely. And I never doubted when we were going into it. And one of the things that Chris talked about to us in the test group is, like, if you doubt what you're doing, you will stress yourself out. And if you stress yourself out, you will mess with your cortisol levels and your body will not respond the way that it's supposed to respond. So it was going in and just saying, I trust this. And I know that everyone's heard trust the process way too many times, but we don't do it. We don't trust the process. We say trust the process because it's hard for us to accept that. But with this program, so the first round that I did, I lost 11 pounds. 12 pounds. I started at 240 and I ended at 228. Okay. And the second round, I lost 3 pounds. And the cool thing is, this is what I really love. The second round, I lost 0 inches on my waist, but I've watched my body composition completely shift. Okay. So I look at this and the shift for me was saying, you don't need to work out 2 hours a day. You need to trust and follow a program. And what I've been saying to everyone who I work with, all of my challengers, and that's why if you're someone watching this call and you're saying, like, what am I supposed to do before the shift shop comes out? Like, we have 3 weeks, right? So whatever program exists, if you treat the next 3 weeks like you are in a test group, like, the launch of that program that you are doing is going to determine the success of that program. You might be able to be on an infomercial for that. Like, if you approach it with that mentality and say, if it's max 30, I'm going to hit the 30 minutes as hard as I can and trust that that will work. I'm going to follow the food plan precisely and trust that that will work. If you do that, you will see a change. For me, this has been the biggest shift, because I've always been the type of person who thinks I need to do more, I need to do more, I need to do more. And the fact of the matter is, more doesn't mean longer. More means giving more of yourself for the time that you're doing something. So that's been the big shift for me. And I think it translates to your nutrition. It translates to your fitness. It translates to your relationships. Like, I tell Chelsea, like, every day, there are moments in the workouts, and Mindy talked about how she hates cardio. There are moments in the workouts where Chelsea's 5'4", I'm 6'7". There are moves that she can do that are super easy for her that are impossible for me, and vice versa, because we have different body types. And the fact of the matter is we really relied on ourselves for 3 weeks, okay? And for me, my understanding is I feel so lucky and so blessed to have someone who's doing this with me and fighting in this battle with me and pushing me, and I can push back, so I can lead at some points and she can lead at some points. But it's really convicted me, because there are a lot of people in this world who don't have that. And I feel like the way that Chris delivered himself and shared himself and poured himself into the people in the test group, that's my goal. That is my goal moving forward, and the shift and the commitment that I have made is so. And I just started calling myself out. We have an organization. We have 7,500 coaches in our organization, and there's a page that we have of about 2,500 people it's just fitness. And I just committed to going live every single day from now until the shift shop launches, because it is our responsibility. And I don't care if you're a coach, I don't care if you're a customer. Like, from day one, you do that first workout, everyone in your life can be changed for the better. Your family, your friends, your neighbors, you have the opportunity to impact and change other people's lives. And I can't think of a more amazing way for you to hold yourself accountable is by realizing that every shift that you make, every mental tweak, every step that you make to getting better impacts your entire world.
Dave,
That's all I got.
All right, here's what's funny. Me and Rob couldn't be more different. Like, every aspect of our lives. Like, the way that we talk, the way that we motivate, that's actually probably it. The way that we motivate is the exact polar opposite. And it showed up 100% in the test group, because basically from our first videos that we put up. And it's funny, I say this, that like me and him are polar opposites, but we have the same goal with the people that we work with. It's just we go about it very differently. And I remember the first video that Rob put up, I was like, I'm really motivated by that. And then after we went through a couple weeks of the shift shop, I started looking through the roster of the shift shop test group, and I'm like, all these superstar diamond coaches, I'm not seeing any of them post. And I'm like, you know what? I'm this guy that I'm just this lowly coach, whatever, but I'm going to start calling people out. And so Rob was really positive and really nice, and I was really mean with my first. I did it with love, though, with my first entry into the shift shop test group, and I called a lot of people out. And the reason I did that is for the same type of motivation that we all kind of have. Now, I was a little harsher in that group because these are all coaches that should be, you know, that should be participating because they're coaches. I understand if challengers don't want to participate because maybe they're, you know, a little shy or whatever, but I think this is an opportunity, and I think that the shift shop test group was an opportunity for all of us, like I said earlier, to prove what's possible with this program. And there are so many people. Look, I don't care if you're the person that's the most in-demand coach in every Super Saturday, or I don't care who you are. None of us know anything about the shift shop at that point, right? We had no idea what it was. So we were all experiencing it at the same level, whether if you were a 15-star diamond coach or an emerald coach or whatever you were, we were all experiencing the same thing at the same time. So it was an opportunity for all of us to prove what was possible with this program. And so when I see these people who have so much influence, and they were actually doing the program, it's funny, they just weren't posting in the group. So I wanted to let them know, like, hey, start posting, because not just for you, but for people like me, for people like there were a couple people from our Philly region in the group that have never really heard from you and never had support from you and look up to you, man. And so so people started, you know, getting more involved, and that was really cool. But the reason I wanted to do that is because of the responsibility of this test group. Look, I went all in with this test group because when I first heard Chris talk, I knew that he was exactly what our country needed at this moment. I think we are a country, and even we're going global soon. I think we're an organization, especially coaches, who have gotten a little soft when it comes to your fitness and your health. I think we tend to hide behind some things, and I'm the guy who gained 67 pounds after losing the Beachbody Challenge because I was sad. Like, that's who I am, right? And so I'm speaking as much to myself as I am to everybody else. But we tend to, and I hope you aren't offended by this, but if you are, I'm sorry, I'm not sorry. We tend to focus too much on non-scale victories, right? And you know what I mean by that. I'm not saying the good non-scale victories where it's like you're able to celebrate something because you did it right. I'm talking about hiding behind the fact that you're not actually getting results and bullshitting us with some results that really aren't happening. There are so many people that fake it and they say, I'm doing everything right, but I'm really not doing everything right. And that includes participating in challenge groups. That includes, just like what Rob said, and just like what Hal said, doing the workout, following the meal plan, doing it perfectly. And there's so many people that don't do that and think that because the world will sympathize with you on Facebook when you post something like, I'm having a bad day. The problem is the world will sympathize with you, but your results won't. Like your health won't, your fitness won't. So like there's a part of you where it's like, yes, sometimes life sucks. In this test group, life sucked for a lot of people. It sucked. I mean, we had, you know, I don't even want to get into it because I don't want to talk about their personal lives, but there were some things where people were posting of things that were happening to them in this test group that were some of the worst things you could ever imagine. Those people worked out. Those people ate well. Those people pushed forward. And one of the things that I talked about in the test group is no matter what happens, and this is what you can relay to your challengers in your challenge groups, no matter what happens in that moment, you have an opportunity to be the example of what happens and what people do and coaches do and challengers do and people who have goals do in the midst of adversity, in the midst of circumstances. That's your opportunity to prove to the world what you can do, right? And while the only adversity I had in my journey was taking my wife to New Orleans for her birthday, which is an adversity. It was a lot of fun. But I was able to work out. We found a CrossFit gym that was like down the road from us. I was able to work out there. And it's something I would have never done. And I bring it all back to why I was doing those things, why everybody in the test group was pushing harder than they've ever pushed. It's because of purpose. Purpose is so important. Purpose is what I've lost. I lost in my journey before. And when I lost that purpose, I started thinking that because I wanted to get in shape, because I wanted to better my body, that's what was going to push me. And the fact of the matter is, I've given up on myself so many times to think that like I'm just going to like magically treat myself better because it's the Shift Shop test group. No, that's not going to work. One thing I don't do is give up on others. I never give up on other people. So how do I align that with what I'm doing in this test group? Well, it was easy. I looked at myself. I reached out to everybody that I knew that was over 300 pounds. And I told them, I said, do me a favor. Watch this journey. Just watch it. And anytime you think I'm slacking, anytime you think I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do, call me out. And when I told them to watch it, I said, I want to prove to you, first of all, that Beachbody isn't for chicks. Only for chicks, I should say. Because I'm talking to all my 300-pound football buddies. Like, dude, all of them watch me, and they're like, you're still a Beachbody coach? Bro, you're still a Beachbody coach? I'm like, yeah, this works. And so I reached out to them, like, here, I'm going to prove it. I'm going to prove that this program works. And specifically because what we all found out real quick, how similar this program is to its training. It's not a workout program. It's a training program, right? That's really different. And so if you have former athletes, if any of you have ever participated in two-a-days or anything along those lines, summer camp for any sport that you've played in, it's similar to that in the workouts. And so I told them, like, watch me. And because I told them to watch me, every single time I thought that I wanted to give up, I thought I wanted to cheat, I thought I wanted to skip, I knew they were watching. And so I had purpose. And it got to the point where my first round of Shift Shop, I lost 20 pounds. In the second round, I lost almost another 20 pounds. Total, I lost 39 pounds in 2 rounds. And while I'm a guy who had a lot more to lose than the other 2 guys here, that's where my results were. And, I go back to the non-scale victory thing, and I go back to the scale victory thing. I needed to lose weight because I was too fat. That's the facts. And this program helps me do that. Is that what everybody needs to do? Not necessarily. Did I have non-scale victories? Absolutely. But I needed scale victories. And I got them. And it was because of that purpose. It was because I was able to look at those people that I knew that if I find success here, those people are going to start. If I find success, if I have a great picture, because that's what happens. If I have a great before and after picture, great before and after results, a great before and after story, somebody's going to start this program and change their life the same way I did when I was 470 damn pounds, right? And so that was my goal, and that's what I pushed. It was a purpose bigger than myself. Everybody in here needs to push for something bigger than yourselves, because the reason that you're on this call right now, the reason that you are a Beachbody coach, the reason that you're in this community is because you gave up on yourself a lot. You gave up on yourself all the time, and you needed people around you. You're not somebody that can just walk into a gym and change your life. And that's fine. That's why we're here. And I honestly think that's the best part about Beachbody. And Mindy, you hit it on the head. The greatest part about Beachbody that goes, unheralded a lot of times is the community. It's the greatest community on earth. A lot of us are in not only in challenge groups, but also in market councils. And so you go and you see these events, and you go in the city. Look, we have a room in Philadelphia where we can fit 800 people in there, and there's not a negative person in that room, right? And where else can you find that? Especially in a city like Philly. nowhere. That's just your answer. But where else can you find that in any city? And that's what we get to have. So if for nothing else, if somebody tells you, I don't need to lose weight, I don't need to get in shape. Yeah, but guess what? Do you need your timeline to change? You realize my timeline is 100% positive? Can anybody else say that? That's outside of this community? Absolutely not. Every single time I go on Facebook, it's freaking personal development. Like, are you kidding me? And that's what happened with this test group. And so I'm done talking, but that's when it comes to that community, you're so right. And thank you for bringing that up, because spot on.
I love the fact that, the longer you're in this business, we become leaders, and we know where our inadequacies are. We know what our limiting beliefs are, but sometimes it's so nice to just be a challenger. But it's also something that I always try to really impress upon other coaches, that just because you're not in a test group doesn't mean you can't get test group results, because you always have the ability to be in an infomercial. But the thing is, show up for yourself, show up strong every day, because people are watching that. And so many people get, discouraged, for different reasons, and they forgot why they got started. None of us got started because we wanted to go change lives. I mean, we didn't even think we could change our own lives the first before picture we took. I mean, but we have. And, I think it's so awesome to be in a test group, because finally I'm like, I get to be a challenger again. Somebody's holding me accountable, because, the longer you're in this business, like my coach, I'll never get tired of her telling me that she loves me and that she's proud of me and all this stuff. But I mean, now it's like, you just have to say that. I know she doesn't, but it's nice to have other people, having people in there calling you out, a new set of words, encouraging you. And being in a challenge group helps us understand how our challenges are, because you really forget, because there are coaches that went silent in there. There were coaches in there that were posting negative stuff. There were coaches that were struggling. There was coaches that were extra, giving and loving. And, I don't know, it just keeps us back to remember where we came from, because we need to always remember to love people where they're at. And, that was the biggest thing that I got from the challenge group. And I have been spending a lot of time lately talking about challenge groups, because our company as a whole has gotten away from the transformation. So I've been focusing with my team of like, let's take this team page, because like I'm tired of talking about the business. Everybody knows what to do, and I never had to be told what to do it, because I just figured it out. So I turned it into a challenge group, because like we need results. Like we need more results. And like Chris showed up for us every day, and that's one thing that I want to explain to everybody, and they can vouch for me. Chris showed up every morning. Dude, this guy got like no sleep at all. He actually offered to be in all of our challenge groups. And I was like, some coaches were like, yay. And the coaches who like were kind of brand new, and like the rest of us that have been around for like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years were like, you don't even want to, like, take that back or delete that comment. But he showed up every day. He was getting up at 5 a.m. and doing the program with people in his gym. He even got his ex-baby mama to do it. I don't think she really loved it as much as we did, but, and then the corporate showed up with us, and we had, Melanie Mitchell was with us, like her and, our team, we all went on a vacation together, and like she stayed strong, we stayed strong. And it was amazing in that we had people from different timelines of it being in the business, different, background stories, but we all came together. And when we have this experience, it like reinvigorates who we are, so we can go into our challenge groups with much enthusiasm, because that's what I want back for our organization, is excitement and enthusiasm, and remembering where we got started and helping people, so we're relatable. So the last thing I wanted to say was just the challenges we had. So for me, my biggest challenge was the fact that there was foods in there that I had cut out a long time ago. So I had to do the whole trust the process, which I did. I did it with a little bit of grumbling, and that affected, I think, my results. That affected my attitude. But then I would come in and I would see, Chelsea have some awesome posts, or Rob or Dave, and, and then Chris would go live like several times a week. And it would get my mind in check. Plus, I had my 2 personally sponsored coaches who were in the test group with me. So we were, texting back and forth. I got to spend a week with my coach in Miami, and her husband and she was, she was doing it, but her husband was in the test group. So I had all this support. So I'm like, it was the same thing. Like, I went on a vacation. We were dog ass tired, like 4 hours of sleep. It was out in like the Orlando and Miami heat where I was working out outside with shoes on. I didn't have any fans. I convinced myself that every condition had to be right. I had to work out within a certain time of when I ate. I had to have like my AC down 60. I'd have a fan blowing on me. I had to have this and that. I couldn't wear shoes. And I conditioned myself for just bullshit excuses. And I remember being there, and it was probably day 11 where I was like, oh my God, I'm doing this. Like, I can do this. And I'm like, I'm doing this. I'm jumping high. I'm doing cardio. I'm not complaining. I'm looking forward to it. And then I came home. My husband, like, we worked out the whole first round together when I was home. And he was like, why aren't you turning on the fan? I'm like, because I don't need it. Like, I'm not going to condition myself for all these things because I am badass and I have this greatness within and I can do that. And that's what I learned on this journey, is that I can do anything. And my last point that I want to share before I turn it to them and then we're done is the fact that we have to have a plan in place. And so when they came to us and said, will you commit to the shift shops 21 days? If you can't, no harm, no foul. If you can, sign something. And if you want to, you can participate in round 2. Then they gave us a hybrid schedule in there. So I knew what I needed to do. I knew I committed to 2 full rounds. And then I was like, I knew how my body was, that I was going to need a break. And so I committed to the hybrid schedule. And now I'm on day 3 of it, or tomorrow will be day 4. So this is the thing that we need to do for our challengers, is always be thinking about what they're doing next. And this helps me where there's no fear. Like, I know what I'm doing next, and then I know when I'm done with a hybrid thing, we're going to Summit, and then I'm coming back and I'm starting it all over with my challengers. And so these are the things that you need to do. You always have to know what you're going to do next. You always have to have a plan. And that was something that I failed at whenever I came home from working full time to here. I sat in limbo. It was like, well, I fulfilled the greatest, dream and thing that I never thought I could do. Now what? And so that's one thing that I have thought about recently, is that we always have to be planning what's next, what's next. What's next. And so now's the time to start preparing your people. Like Rob said, I think Rob said that we have 3 weeks. Get them ready. Because I had a call with the coach today that she's been falling off track. And I'm like, you could start it and kick ass, but like, let's get you started now. So you get you prepared. Don't just wait till it lands and sit back on your heels. So that was my challenges and my, greatest takeaway and mindset shift. So Hal, Rob, Dave.
What I think everybody realized, and we're all hitting on it, but life happens. Life happens for all of us. Everybody's going to have their own excuses. Everybody's going to have their own things. And what I find difficult to deal with, Dave might find easy. What Dave finds easy to deal with, Rob would find hard. We all have life. Whether you're a parent, whether you're single, whether you're, whatever, your job stresses, whatever it is. So for me, and that's why like this was so critical to like commit to this, because it's the accountability aspect of Beachbody as well. Life's going to happen. We all have it. And being held accountable, even just a little bit by having somebody care enough to say, hey, did you get your workout done today? Hey, I made a comment at one point in the group about struggling because it was one of the first days with, like carbs were being cut. I got reached out to by Chris, called me up to say, what's going on, man? How's this doing? Like, and all this stuff. Now, mind you, here's, hey, call me on my personal cell. Let's work this through this. And it's like, dude, I'm, yeah, a little bit of brain fog, but I'm not stopping. Like it's week 3, like it's day 2. A little headache ain't going to stop me out. I just, had to sit there and say, holy geez, like, it takes a little out of you. It takes a breath away for a minute. But yeah, that like the that accountability, that understanding life happens. Shit happened much worse to other people than I dealt with during this. But I dealt with some stuff that people like Mindy and everybody else would say, oh man, like, I don't know how you deal with that stuff all the time. I work a lot. I work probably 12 hours a day, and I travel for business a lot. So throughout this trip, like, I would have to plan travel, eat healthy out, and do that stuff. That is intimidating like nothing else to the majority of you guys. But do you know how easy, like, and everybody's like, how'd you do it? do you know how easy it is to go to a restaurant, a breakfast restaurant, and go, I need 2 eggs, a scrambled, no oil, like try to keep the butter and oils low, no, and can I have some avocado? Can I have some asparagus? Like, what kind of fruits or what kind of veggies do you have? I pack snacks when I get on these planes, and I see other guys that do the same thing. We have a pilot in our test group that travels just like I did. Here's 3 days gone. Here's his package of things. You got the guys that like do the day thing where they got 6 planned meals in there, and that is awesome. I end up eating out a lot because when you're at a hotel and stuff, but it's easy for me to go say, I need a salad, and can you put dressing on the side? And here's a vinaigrette, and hey, listen, was I absolutely perfect? Probably not by the standards. Did I do what was in those containers? Did I make sure I did the best I could? And did I get results? Absolutely. And the fact is it's easy. It was easy for me because it's like, hey, I need a vinaigrette and a salad for lunch, and for dinner, can I have a piece of fish that's grilled, not deep fried, and a salad? Like, you can do those things on the road, and I proved it to myself, which I thought would be the hardest thing to do. Hey, let's go live on the road for 3 days and do this. Or, hey, I'm going to do this, and I'm on my iPad working out in a hotel room that has, 4 feet on one side and about 6 feet on the other. Can I get this workout in? Yeah, you can. So you kind of have that, all-in mentality because you have people watching you, people you look up to, because we would all be lying. Even those 15 stars, even the 1 stars and the emeralds, they all look up to some of us in some certain way, whether it be, oh man, look what this guy's done. Oh man, look what she's done in business, or look what he's done in health, or look at whatever it is. We all look up to those people, and to be in a group with them, to be accountable to them and see them. I mean, how great was it? I mean, if you guys haven't seen, all of us have passion for this business or passion for like what we do and helping others, you're not seeing the message here. I mean, like, we want to see this succeed so much, not for us, not for our, we want it for our teams. We want it so that you see people who didn't think they could do what we already know. Our jobs as coaches, we have more faith in the people that are on these calls and that see us than they have in themselves most of the time. And when they quit, it hurts us more because they gave up on themselves more than it hurts them who gave up on themselves. I mean, what other business do you sit there and go, hey, if I quit, my boss is really going to give 2 squats about me. Hey, I'm not even your boss, but I'm just your upline. And I care that much about everyone there that they get a result, that they get something from this experience. So, that's the shift I really had was, seeing that, like, that accountability. And you know what? I saw what reinforced in me in that shift shop test group was, and I don't want to, I don't want to share with everybody, but it's like, dude, a guy with MS that could barely walk is out there doing it with us. How can I, with 2 okay legs after all my years in playing, how can I not at least try? I modified the majority of the time. Rob, you are an inspiration to me because I watch guys like you, and I'm like, dude is over 300 pounds. How do you do this? Holy, how he can move still? I'm like, I'm sitting here going, I haven't worked out in years. I had to modify. You got to give it a try, but then you're like, when you fail, modify. And I modified the majority of the time, and I am not afraid to say it. It's my first workout program ever that I've done. I mean, to me, that's what's incredible. Because like you guys said, this is not working out. This is training. This is going back to where what all of us know works, has worked in the past, and we know will work in the future for anybody at any fitness level. And there's not a person, I think, that's really more in tune with motivation that we have right now on the roster than Chris. I think the guy is just so – I love all of our people. They're all special, and they all have their own, great qualities. But, man, just that personality of just being positive and encouraging to guys like me who I'm like, I never did. I can't. I did it. So major props. I'll turn it over then.
You know,
Hal, go ahead, Mindy.
piggyback on what you said. The thing about Chris, you guys, is like he's been so giving on calls with coaches, and in the test group, he let us into his life. Like one time he gave us a tour of his, man cave and why he had the things in there. And it was so amazing to like that he trusts us so much that he let us into his life. So anyways, that was it.
Hey, Hal. So first of all, thank you. I really appreciate that. And that was actually one of my biggest challenges. I'll get to the first challenge. I actually just wrote this down as Mindy, as you were kind of prepping us. And the first challenge that I had was not doing Sean Week. Like the struggle was real there because insanity is what got me into Beachbody. And like I said, Chelsea and I made a commitment to not throw those extra workouts in. So that was like a really big challenge for me, especially with, my past of saying like, oh, if I want to get results, I have to do as much stuff as possible. But really the biggest challenge for me was self-imposed, and Hal has touched upon it. Dave has touched upon it. Seeing those people who were in there, I came into this test group saying, I want to be the best challenger in that group. I want to motivate as many people as I can. I'm going to raise the bar every opportunity that I can. And this goes back to the mental shift that I made, because like one of the quotes that I've heard a bunch of times is that you are the sum of the 5 people who you are closest to. But if you take a second to think about that, you are one of the 5 people that someone else is closest to. So the more you lift yourself up, and the higher you hold, the higher of the standard you hold yourself to, you raise up the people around you, and you raise yourself up. So my biggest challenge was going in there, seeing people who have what I perceive, and how it's so funny that you said this, that I perceive are more inspiring than me, that I perceive are more successful than me, that I perceive are better than me, have better video editing skills than me. And all we do as human beings is look at what we don't have, okay? So my challenge to myself was to say, forget that. I'm going to do my best to give everything that I have. And for me to kind of put that challenge on myself and then realize it's not about just doing that in a challenge group. This is life. And the parallels between what you do with your health and fitness, the way that it spans to every aspect of your life, if you allow it to, is insane. When I was depressed, it was because I was taking crap care of myself. And the worse you take care of yourself, the more depressed that you get. The better you take care of yourself, guess what? The happier you get. I'm not happy because I am lean now. I'm happy because I'm taking care of myself, and it all correlates. And there are people who I'm meeting who are better people, who are having those conversations because we're on the same path. And that's kind of the cool thing about being one of 3, you want to call it featured speakers or whatever, who are coming from not the same place, but similar places. We're all very different, as you guys have heard tonight. We all have very different approaches, but I'm better because of them, and they're better because of me. And so this is what I'm trying to get to each of you tonight, because my goal, right along with Carl Deichler's, is to help people achieve their goals and enjoy a healthy, more fulfilling life. The reason I say that so smoothly is because I say it to myself every single morning and every single night, because I know if that's my focus, I will be a better person, and all the people around me will be better people. And I will meet better people. I will be inspired and motivated by better people. So that was my biggest challenge, was saying, even though I'm not a whatever, like I don't even know what the ranks of people who are in there, even though I'm not what I perceive them to be, I'm going to be the best me. And that's all that I can ask for. And I'm happy that I could do that. I think my biggest learning through the program is that it's not about what you're doing, it's about how you do it. And I know that kind of ties in with it, but like you can give 100%. regardless of what challenges you're facing. You have to suffocate the negativity. And I don't know if you guys have ever read the book, The Positive Dog. It's by John Gordon. You could probably read it in 15 minutes because it's like such an easy read and it's such a simple premise. But like when you just speak positivity into yourself and when you just focus on all the things that are good, the things that are negative have less power. Like, and they all of a sudden start to diminish and diminish and diminish. And that doesn't mean that nothing bad is going to happen to you. But like, I know almost my whole life, I have been trapped because of focusing on bad things that happen to me that I have no control over. I know what I do have control over, and I'm going to push that 100%. You know, I actually shared with everybody tonight that I almost didn't do my workout today. How funny is that? So 2 rounds, no problem. We're on day 3 today, and I almost didn't do my workout today. And I was sitting there. I was like, it's been a really long day. I've gone through all of these hard things. I'm supposed to do speed 50 today, which is terrible. Like it will destroy you. Like no matter what, no matter how fit you are. And that's why I was laughing when Hal said we all had to modify a lot, guys. We all did. Like I'm pretty sure that if we filmed Chris doing that 50-minute workout nonstop, he would be modifying. Like it doesn't matter. It's designed to wreck. What do they call it? He calls them his warriors. It wrecks his warriors, right? So, and it's a good thing because failure gives you the opportunity to grow. But the last thing that I really just wanted to touch upon was, again, what Hal had said, with the way that Chris cares about the people who are doing this. And it was in today's workout, which I know you guys were supposed to motivate me so I could pass this on. There's a moment in the last set of drills where every time that he slaps one of the agility markers, he says something. And when he slaps the orange marker, he says, I will never get an ego. This is not about him. And it's not about us. It's about giving people the opportunity to be the best version of them and to lift everyone. So that is my takeaway. That is my goal. That is where my focus is every single day for the rest of my life. And that's it.
Dave has 2 minutes, by the way, according to our conversation earlier.
Yeah, right.
I want to see this happen.
I don't even know what that. I don't even know. I can't even say my own name in 2 minutes, let alone talk in 2 minutes. But the funny thing is about challenges and stuff like that, and it's so funny because me and Rob have the exact same thought coming into this group. I want to be the motivator. I want to be the guy that gets people in line. I want to be, and even video editing skills, all that shit. We're the same.
That's why we won. That's why this group won.
Right.
You are one. We are one.
Right. It's like the same thing with Rob. It's like we're polar opposites when it comes to like our chakras, but we're the same damn person. But it's true, and it's funny. I envy Chris so much in so many ways, but at the same time, the ego thing, like you said, like Rob said with the ego, I put my ego aside, and rather than it's happened to me a couple times where I've had to do that with Beachbody, and it's been the best transformation I've had is being able to put my ego aside and be able to live vicariously through other people who are doing incredible stuff that I've wanted to do that maybe I don't have the opportunity to do or have the opportunity to do yet. Chris is one of those people. So when I see Chris being such a motivating person and such a great example, I want to work that much harder to provide a great example to make sure that this dude is taking over the world and taking that gift that he has and bringing it to the world. Like that to me is such an awesome opportunity because maybe I'm the guy and Rob's the guy and Hal's the guy and Mindy's the chick that we all have to stand on top of each other to lift Chris up. Maybe that's our job, but how freaking awesome is that job, man? So that to me has become such a cool purpose to this. That just kind of came in what Rob was talking about. But as far as the challenge, man, the challenge for me and what this program is and what it did for me and what it did for just about everybody in this challenge group, what it did for us is it's pretty simple. It called us on our shit. Whether you're in shape or not, you'll find out in the first day. Whether you eat well or not, you'll find out in the first day. And you'll find out in the first week, because the people that didn't get headaches, the people that didn't have the shakes, the people that didn't have those things, they usually eat well. The people that weren't sore, the people that weren't dying after every workout, they usually do their workout every day. The rest of us, as in 99% of the rest of the group, we felt that soreness, we felt that pain, we felt those headaches because we've been living off of burning carbs and sugar our entire life, and now we have to learn how to not do that. Well, you don't just learn how to not do that. You don't just turn that shit off. What happens is your body's like, oh my God, I hate you right now. And so you learn. And one of the things when I posted my 40-day results, and I said, Shift Shop is going to learn you something about yourself. And that's true. You are going to learn a little bit about yourself. And guess what? You may have been able to hide behind a lot of stuff, behind filters, behind old pictures, behind old results, behind things that you did in the past. You may have been able to hide behind that on Facebook. I always call it the facade of perfection that a lot of people put on Facebook. You may have been able to hide behind that before, but when you get into the Shift Shop, you're going to learn yourself a little bit of something about yourself, because you got to do that workout, you got to do that meal plan, and you're going to realize real quick what you need to work on. And that's what Shift Shop did for me. It taught me what I was doing wrong, and it just so happened to be that I really wasn't working hard enough on my workouts. And while the workout part of it was never a struggle for me, eating was a huge struggle for me. And what I learned was, I was drinking too much craft beer. I was eating too much bread. I was having too many cheese plates with my wife. I was doing that too much. And while, you aren't doing that in the Shift Shop, and I know that I'm not going to not drink beer the rest of my life. I'm not going to not eat cheese the rest of my life, or whatever it is. I now know that part of my life, I need to control it better, because when I actually do follow the perfect program, and I say this without hesitation, Shift Shop is the perfect program. Like I said, it's the hardest meal plan I shouldn't say hardest, most focused meal plan, because it's really not hard at all. It's freaking easy, honestly. It's like, hey, here's what you can eat, here's what you can't eat. Simple, right? It's the most focused meal plan that Beachbody has, second to the Ultimate Reset, and it's the hardest workout program and most intense workout program that Beachbody has, second to none, right? So you're doing both of these things at the same time. You're going to learn about yourself. And so that was my biggest struggle, was learning about myself and facing that honesty, facing that truth, and facing my bullshit. That was hard for me, because it helped. While it was great to overcome these barriers and take these leaps, at the same time, there were times when I took a step back and I'm like, 2 or 3 months ago, I'm yelling at challengers for not getting their stuff done. And I look at myself now where I am, and it's so obvious that back then I wasn't doing everything that I could be doing to be the leader, to be the example. I sent out a lot of apologies. To people. And I told them, I said, I'm sorry for not practicing what I preached. I was really good at preaching. I wasn't good at practicing. What Shift Shop helped me do, what Chris helped me do, what this challenge group helped me do, what everybody on this, there's a lot of people in the challenge group on this call, but, especially, Rob is a big example of this. It's, what happened in that challenge group, I don't think will ever be duplicated in my life. I'm going to try to duplicate it with my challenge groups, but just that constant reminder of like, dude, if you're doing it to the best of your ability, then there's somebody out there that needs to see that, and that's going to change their life. I went into this wanting to be the best transformation in the Shift Shop. I came out of it realizing that it didn't matter who was the best, and there wasn't going to be a best. What mattered was the example that I set. Was it good enough? Did I do everything I could to make sure that example was something that somebody needed to see, and that it would take them from where I was at 367 pounds on day one of Shift Shop? Is there somebody out there that's over 360 pounds that needs to see where I was and to make the next step? Am I giving somebody the hope for a better tomorrow? If I am, that I'm the best transformation there is, right? Because for somebody, and that goes for everybody in this group, if you knew you did it, and in the midst, again, I don't think I finished the sentence this entire time. I apologize. But in the midst of the struggles, like what Hal was saying, in the midst of those struggles, this is something that I even brought up in the challenge group, because what I noticed was there were people that struggled a little bit and then disappeared. How often do we see that in our challenge groups? We see that all the time. One little struggle, one little hump in the road, and they're gone. And that's because of embarrassment. And especially with coaches, because coaches know that they have to set the example, and if they screw up, they want to disappear. And they want to disappear until things get better. And then when things get better, they go, oh yeah, back then when I didn't tell you I was struggling, I was really struggling, but now I'm better. That's the prototypical Beachbody coach response to things. I'm better now, but I was bad back then. Rather than saying in the midst of your struggle, guys, I'm freaking struggling, right? So setting that example, everybody needs that example too. The example that Hal had, where he's traveling all the time. Maybe he couldn't do the program to a T perfectly in his living room like you see in every infomercial. Maybe he couldn't do that. But what the example that he set by doing it on the road, that is so important, and people need that. The example set by those people who had weddings in the middle of this, had Memorial Day in the middle of this, had events, had birthday parties, graduations, those people that had those examples, we needed those examples too, because the world needs that example, so that when I'm dealing with somebody or working with somebody that's doing shift shop and they're like, I got a graduation this weekend, I got my wedding this weekend. Okay, here, let me just type this right up. There was somebody in the test group that had a wedding. This is exactly what they did. I'm going to connect you with them so that you can have that example. That happens so many times. And so, and Rob's example is going to be important. Mindy, your example is going to be important. Hal's example is going to be important. And we have all of these incredible examples of success in their own way. And and nobody was perfect in any sense of the way. And guess who couldn't be perfect either? Rob said it too. Chris can't do these damn workouts, 50-minute workout. When I had, and not that he can't do them, because he can, the dude, it's when he jumps, like, he jumps all the way up here. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you're jumping over like people. But when Chris introduced the 50-minute workout, he talked to our Philly region about it on a call. Like Mindy said, he's the most giving human being on earth. And so on the call, he said when they were developing the 50-minute workout, it was going to be, I think he said 60 or 65 minutes or whatever. And he said when they were doing it, he threw up in his mouth and he used the term abusive. So he's like, then he said, oh, we had to cut it down from there to 50 minutes. Hey man, still abusive, bro. So y'all, anybody who did the 25-minute preview, that was probably like, yeah, it was tough, right? Yeah, double that. And that's what you'll be able to do. That's what you'll be able to do at the end of this program. How crazy is that? If I would have put on that 50-minute program on day one of my journey, I would have thrown up at least 10 times. And I would have cried, and I would have definitely called Beachbody and been like, nah, I'm not doing this, because I'm never going to be able to do that program. And now I'm able to do it. Kind of. But you know what I mean? I'm able to at least put it on and get that workout done, which is something I could have never done in the beginning. So for nothing else, that's the greatest transformation I've had. The ability to do a 50-minute shift shop workout is the craziest thing ever. Some of you don't even understand what that means, and you're going to learn. Like I said, it's going to learn you something about yourself. But just the ability to do that is the most incredible thing. So was that 2 minutes? That was 2 minutes. Good.
One thing I forgot to mention earlier was, I went to visit my coach in Miami, and usually when I go there, I'm like, I stock up on these Publix cookies, and we eat cartridges of it. We get Cuban coffee 2 to 3 times a day. We eat out at Cancun Grill every chance we can get. And so when I got there, I was kind of like, oh no. I'm like, what are we going to do? Like, we can't go places. Like, and then I stopped drinking 18 months ago, and I'm like, so now what are we going to do? But then you know what? We survived. We did go out to eat. We picked the great things, but we actually spent more time together, and we spent time in the kitchen together. We weren't out at a restaurant, and I think that society now lives in restaurants. They live for food. And it really just, I mean, it just eats away at our little ecosystem that we call a family, you know? It's been really, that was kind of like a big wake up call. And just what they highlighted on is there's people with MS, you know, Melissa has RA. There are people who had just had a baby. There was a baby who had been bit by a dog and the mom was in the test group. People whose sisters were in the hospital. I mean, it literally, if I was complaining and I saw this, I'm just like, I mean, I can't even like complain. Like, you know, there was so much inspiration. And you know, you don't have to be in a 300 person test group. Look around. There's always somebody out there who's had it worse and done way better than you. So, you know, and you're going to be that person to somebody else. And so anyways, I hope you guys enjoy the content that we shared. I'll get this up on YouTube tomorrow. But this was just our perspective. And really, I, as somebody who's been in this business for a long time, that don't wait till it launches to start marketing it. Don't just say, oh, look at my friend Rob. He was awesome on the call last night. Look at his results. Or look at Dave. He lost 40 pounds. Talk about what it means. Get in people's emotions. Talk about it, because you're just another person selling another program. And if they don't know what it means to you and know your story and know, like, and trust you, and they see some dude that has great abs or a great transformation, they're just going to go order it, you know? And so many coaches, I think, don't realize that they are sending business straight to Team Beachbody because they're not putting their words there. And, you know, the biggest thing.
Right. And Mindy, I don't want to interrupt, but I'm going to interrupt. What I tell people all the time, especially with Sean Week is awesome to have that, because you can throw people right into that as a good introduction to Shift Shop. Perfect introduction, because it's brand new, it's exciting. You're not telling them to do a program they've already done. But at the same time, all of the Shift Shop transformations and results from the test group are out now. So you're going to tell those people, you have to wait a month. No, but they won't even wait a second. Like, get them now. Say, look, here's the transformation I had. Here's the transformation my coach had, my friend had. I know this person. You can talk to this person. Here's our transformations. Now, here's what we're going to do. You get your bod now, because you can get it now. It's the same price as when it comes out then. But jump into Sean Week. Jump into something. Like you said, be prepared. Have a 21-day best 21-day hybrid program I can think of. If you partner Sean Week with the Chisel workouts from Hammer and Chisel. I mean, that's a great hybrid program that you're getting two different trainers. You're getting Autumn, who everybody knows. You're getting Sean T, who everybody knows. They're all excited. And then, boom, Shift Shop is out, and they're going, right? Get them now. Like you said, get them now, because all the transformations are coming out now. They're not going to be coming out on July 12th. They're coming out now. Now is when it's important.
Yeah, have your challenge group date ready. Know your information about the program, about how many workouts, because people will ask you all these questions. They're going to ask you questions like I saw here. How does it compare to P90X and Sandy? You heard what Dave said. You know, it's kind of like a fusion type of, you know, whatever you said. Insanity Max 30 or Insanity and Hammer and Chisel or whatever, but like, know your stuff. Like, this is your business, and if you want to help people get results, you need to know what you're doing. Like, don't just be a salesman that plasters pictures up and like, oh, inspirational, and expect them to come to you. I think that's all I have to say in closing. Thank you, dudes. You guys showed up strong, just like I knew you would. Let's rock round 3, and I will see your sexy asses at Summit. Later.